All right, guys, welcome back to another Master and Apprentice video and podcast. How you doing today, Afton?
Not too shabby. How about you, Sammy?
You're looking pretty good with that swollen eye.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we haven't done a book review in a hot minute. Afton finally finished one though, so we are going to be giving you guys another book review today. Today we'll be bringing you Tarkin by James Luceno. It's a pretty great book. We've been doing this. We've been adding each book to the tier list S through D. A, B, C, D. Today I'm gonna put this personally on A tier. Where are you gonna put this after?
I was gonna put it on A tier too. It is a very good book. You put it above or below Dooku?
I put it below, in my opinion. It's a great book. It's very similar to Dooku in a lot of ways, just storytelling wise. I think the execution's done a little poorly in some spots compared to Dooku. I think it's similar to Dooku in the fact that you have a backstory, right? And so like the backstory of this character is kind of thrown in the middle through the books, throughout. And then you have this like present time side quest, right? And the present time side quest for the Tarkin book is very intriguing. And that's something that the Dooku book didn't have as much. I like the adventurous part in Dooku, but
yeah,
the Vader part in Tarkin was very intriguing. It was very cool to see the relationship between those two characters, just to see all of that. But Tarkin himself is like supposed to be this mastermind genius, so the internal interlog between himself is very intriguing and it's interesting, but he's kind of boring at times. So his backstory isn't all that interesting at points to me, right? I think it's still a very good book, high quality. I love Tarkin in general, but I think the reason this suffers a little bit compared to Dooku is this character who plays a major role through Star Wars, and if it's affected by other main characters. Tarkin isn't as much, right?
Yeah.
He's a pretty important character, but through one movie and through some of the Clone Wars, right? So with that being said, his actions and reactions don't seem as catastrophic or as important as Dooku's. Pretty much when Dooku's book, when he's in a scenario or a scene that's nail biting or makes you anxious, it just seems a little bit more intriguing because he has more on the line. Whereas Dooku is not as much, right? Not as much more mysterious because we kind of understand this character. He's the same through everything through Clone Wars, where Dooku's changed so much. So there's a lot more mysteria behind Dooku than there is Tarkin at sometimes.
Yeah. I loved the relationship between Tarkin and Vader. Here's where the spoilers are going to start coming in. So, spoiler alert, read the book now. Great book. Vader and Tarkin are tracking down some pirates who are pretty irrelevant when it comes to the rest of the plot, but these pirates stole Tarkin's ship. Tarkin's ship is one of the best in many of the Imperial fleets, and it is so cool to see Tarkin's insight being used on top of Vader's Jedi and Sith instincts. Those two together are an unstoppable combination. It's beautiful just to see it in action where Vader tracks the ship through hyperspace, and then whenever Vader's unable to, Tarkin now tracks it through hyperspace with fuel depots, which we see in little portions of the Clone Wars. There's so many different little things where it's plot development both towards Vader and Tarkin. So, I mean, Vader's a fan favorite character quite obviously, so if you want some more on Vader, this is going to give you some more character development on him. It's not going to be a ton because we see him throughout so much other shows or TV or movies, so it's not a bunch of adding on, but it's a lot like the Kenobi show. We didn't really learn much more about Vader. We knew a lot about him already, but it was so cool just to see it again. It really was. I like Tarkin a lot. This was a great book. He's one of the few characters that we see both in the Clone Wars and in the original trilogy. And I mean, there are a couple of characters, but the ones that we do see both in those sides are main characters, and he's one of the few background characters there are.
Yeah, I will say this book, if you've read any of the Legends Vader's books, Vader, Lord of the Sith, or I think there's another like Revenge of the Sith where it's a little bit about Vader. This book kind of gives very similar vibes because it does give us a decent amount of Vader in our log. So that sometimes throws me off a little bit because I get this book confused with some of the Vader books, which is another reason it's not as high as Dooku, because Dooku in itself is unique. And heck, the Dooku book is written as a play. So, I mean, it's in itself just a unique book, which is why it's kind of go up a little bit. But they are very similar. I do enjoy both books a lot. Both definitely have their different strengths and weaknesses. but it is a great read. Definitely recommend, especially if you're into like the old trilogy and the characters from it. This is a book that you should definitely read. It's just going to give you a lot of cool insight on this interesting character.
It also shows a little bit of Palpatine too. One of the things I really liked about it was Palpatine bringing up the fact that both Tarkin and Vader had a history in this one planet, so they go search on that planet. Palpatine saying that's the dark side of the Force leading them to this planet. It's one of the few times where we see the Palpatine personified. A lot of times we just see him as this all-knowing being, but he's like, oh, I'm being told this thing. It's like, wow, he's not a god. It's kind of really awesome just to see that.
Yeah.
Anything else from this book?
No, I think that's really it.
No, yeah. Hit the like and subscribe if you are listening to this on podcasts. Follow, download. Yeah, we got a whole playlist of book reviews. We got 3 in so far. So if you want to go check out some Star Wars books, we got quite a few on our repertoire. And with that, we will see you guys on the next one.
Peace.